Imagine walking into a room filled with mirrors, each reflecting a slightly different version of yourself. Some show you as you are now. Others reshape your image based on memories, past experiences, and expectations about the future. No single reflection is the truth. They all influence one another, constantly shifting and redefining what you see. This is how imagination works, not as a linear process, but as an interwoven system of memory, perception, and abstraction. These three elements do not function independently or in sequence. They form a continuous cycle where each reshapes and sustains the others. Memory stores and structures past experience, but it does not operate as a fixed archive. It is reinterpreted by present perception and evolving abstraction. Perception filters the present moment, but it is never a passive reception of sensory input. It is shaped by memory's influence and the conceptual frameworks created by abstraction. Abstraction extracts meaning from both memory and perception. It creates structure, formulates new ideas, and allows thought to extend beyond immediate experience. But it remains dependent on the material provided by perception and the past knowledge stored in memory. Together, they form a system where thought remains fluid rather than static, where past experience informs the present, and where the present reorganizes what is remembered. Most models of thought suggest a sequence. We perceive something, remember it, and then build abstractions based on it. But imagination does not work this way. Memory, perception, and abstraction are not steps in a process. They exist in constant coexistence, modifying one another in real time. Consider a song you haven't heard in years. When you hear it again, it does not sound the same as it once did. The melody is familiar, but the way you experience it has changed. You notice details that were once insignificant, or emotions arise that never surfaced before. The song is the same, but your perception of it has been reshaped by intervening experiences, by memories that have evolved, and by abstract concepts that now assign it new meaning. Memory is never static. It is continuously reconstructed, updated by new perception and filtered through evolving abstractions. Perception is never raw. It is always shaped by prior experiences and the mental models that determine what is noticed and how it is interpreted. Abstraction is never isolated. It emerges from the interaction between perception and memory, ensuring that thought remains grounded rather than detached from experience. Imagination is not a storehouse of ideas, but an active and recursive process of transformation. Memory and perception exist in a feedback loop. Memory determines what is noticed, shaping attention and filtering sensory experience. In turn, perception updates memory, restructuring past experiences in light of new ones. A person revisiting their childhood home does not see it as they once did. The room seems smaller, the colors different, the atmosphere changed. But it is not the house that has changed, it is the interaction between memory and present perception. The mind is not retrieving an untouched record of the past, but reconstructing it in real time. This interaction prevents perception from being overwhelmed by chaotic sensory input and ensures that memory does not become rigid or outdated. The result is continuity, where the past remains relevant to the present without dictating it. Perception is not an unstructured influx of data. It is already filtered and categorized by abstract models of thought. Without these models, perception would be fragmented and incomprehensible. A child sees a new animal and gradually learns to recognize it as a dog. Over time, their mind extracts patterns, certain shapes, movements, and behaviors, allowing them to categorize not just one dog, but all dogs. This process is abstraction in action, transforming raw sensory impressions into structured knowledge. But abstraction is not only about classification. It allows thought to go beyond the immediate, to conceive of things that are not present. A person reading a book does not just see words on a page. They construct entire worlds in their mind, filling in details that the text does not explicitly provide. This interplay ensures that perception is not merely reactive, but an active process of meaning-making. It also prevents abstraction from becoming detached from reality, as it remains grounded in perceptual experience. Memory and abstraction shape one another in an ongoing process of refinement. Memory supplies abstraction with raw material, while abstraction restructures and synthesizes memory, allowing knowledge to evolve. A historical event remembered in childhood is understood differently in adulthood. The event itself has not changed, but the conceptual framework through which it is interpreted has. Abstraction reconfigures stored knowledge, integrating new insights, ensuring that thought remains adaptable rather than fixed. This process allows imagination to function as an evolutionary system rather than a static repository of ideas. Thought is not simply accumulated, it is transformed. Imagination emerges from the continuous interaction of memory, perception, and abstraction. It is not a mechanism with fixed inputs and outputs, but a self-sustaining cycle of refinement, reinterpretation, and projection. Perception remains structured, shaped by memory and abstraction, preventing it from becoming a flood of meaningless sensory data. Memory remains adaptable, reshaped by new perception and evolving abstractions, preventing it from becoming an unchanging archive. Abstraction remains grounded, dependent on perception and memory, preventing it from drifting into pure detachment. Imagination is not something we summon when needed and set aside when not in use. It is the foundation of thought itself. It allows us to integrate the past, interpret the present, and conceive of the future. It ensures that we do not merely experience the world, but actively construct it. A song heard today is not the same song it was years ago, because the mind that hears it is not the same. The past does not simply live within us, we are constantly reshaping it. And in that process, we are shaping ourselves.